Hey, this is Bogdan from Bearing Yachts. Today we are on the Pocket Explorer Yacht B76 here in the beautiful Portsmouth area. Together with Michael, who is the owner of this yacht. He was owner-operator in fact as well, and we have the opportunity to have a little bit of conversation, asking him some questions on the experience he made. Okay, so Michael, tell us a little bit how you came into yachting and what made you choose an Explorer yacht.
Long story. I came into yachting with my son. We had on Mallorca one night in the sunset time. We had a trip with a kayak along the coastline of northern part of Mallorca. And it was so beautiful. It was a summer night and the sunset, and it was so beautiful landscape and all this. It was calm night, it was calm sea. And so we paddled with our kayak, and my son says, "Dad, I think we should have a boat." And then I said, "Yes, I think you are right. We should have a boat." And so we came into yachting industry and we bought our first boat. It's almost 20 years ago, and so I bought first boat was pleasure yacht, a small pleasure yacht, 26 foot. And as it is with every time with boats, they are too small. So then we grow up with the boats, and with the experience of the boat grew up, and then we had after this about 40-foot boat, it's pleasure yacht, and then we bought a 55-foot boat, pleasure yacht. And with this boat then we did longer travels. We did travel the whole Balearic, so we did Menorca, Mallorca, we did Ibiza, and we did travel the coastline of Spain. So we did Barcelona and all this. And we really loved, we get used to that, and we really love to travel longer, to do longer distances by boat. And then we saw and realized that when we do this, that we don't use this pleasure yacht like normally you use it with 20 knots or more. We just saw that we are only traveling with 9 to 10 knots on the autopilot, and it was nice to sit on the boat, to see the landscape, to feel the sea, and do this traveling, not to race the sea, just to travel the sea. And so it grew up in us the dream. Maybe we could see more of the world by boat, because you can see with the boat remote places, you can have nice places where nobody else can, where you can only go with a boat. And it is nice to live on the boat, to have nights in base on the boat, to live ashore, to have night trips with the boat. It's really beautiful. Everybody who has it knows what I'm talking about. And so, yes, the dream grew up, and then one time we said, okay, why not? Let's have this dream come true. Sometimes dreams need a reality check. And so, yes, we decided to buy a boat, and that because we want to do these trips, these prolonged trips, these longer trips, and especially we want to do northern trips at the northern seas. Then we knew that is not possible with pleasure yachts. We need a displacement yacht. So this was just, and then what is displacement? Then investigated a lot of internet, talking a lot. And then I knew, okay, it must be more or less an Explorer yacht. So this is how it was.
And what would you say are the benefits of having a steel boat?
Oh, the first what you say is that it is a secure boat. That it is that you, if you hit something, and this is the first what you think about if it's a steel yacht. But I think the other thing is with pleasure yachts, for example, in GRP, you're swimming on the waves and on the water, and with displacement you're under the water or in the water. And with GRP, you have these noises. You have a lot of noises with all these waves. Everybody who has a GRP yacht knows what I'm talking about. And that's why I said, okay, to provide these noises, to not have these noises, it is better to have it in steel. And you don't have all these guiding lines what you have with GRP boats for the water. All this makes noises. And that's why this is another point. Not only the safetiness of a boat of steel, it is really these making noises and the weight of steel. Because if you have your displacement yard, you really need a weight to have the boat, to have this displacement you need. So that is why we said, let's have it in steel.
It's interesting, and yeah, the first journey you made, in fact, is all the way from Antalya, and now we're sitting here in Portsmouth in the UK. So tell us a little bit about how many miles you cruised, what was the itinerary, and how did you enjoy?
All over, we did now 4,600 miles with our Le Manja, with our Bearing 76. But 900 miles of this we did in Mediterranean, in between Antalya and Cyprus, because it was just for testing the boat in the first, when it was launched, when we had some test trials. So this is and it was really nice along the coastline of Turkey. So we enjoyed the boat in the first months at the coastline of Antalya with Cyprus. And then when everything was finished, then we started with another 3,600 miles from Antalya, and we crossed all the Aegeis. We went up once again the coastline of Turkey to Marmaris. We had Göcek, really nice places, and then we went to all the islands of Greece, Kos. We have Santorini, and then we went over the Peloponnese. Unfortunately, we could not do the Corinth Channel. This was a big dream for me one time, to do the Corinth Channel by my own boat, but it wasn't possible because at this time it was closed. There was a big rock fallen down in this channel, and that's why it was closed. So that's why we have to go through the Peloponnese, across the Peloponnese. Then we did Zakynthos, and then we crossed the Ionian Sea to Italy. We have been in Sicilia, Sardinia. Then we, from Sardinia, we sailed to the Balearic Sea. We had Menorca, Mallorca, Ibiza, and then we sailed the coastline of Spain down to Malaga, Marbella, and then to Gibraltar. We passed the Strait of Gibraltar with all these whales, you know about, but are attacking. At this time, they are attacking the sailboats, not us. Maybe they feared the steel. And then we sailed the Portuguese coast and France. We crossed the Biscaya. Everybody who is sailing knows about Biscaya and what is up with Biscaya. And then we came from Biscaya, we came to Great Britain, Falmouth, and then we had the south coast of Great Britain. Now we are in Portsmouth. We sailed the Solent, and after this we want to go to London for the winter time.
Wow. So yeah, for a trip like this, you would need to have a lot of provisioning and I think fuel. Tell us a little bit how you got along. You transferred also one of the cabins, or you converted, in fact, one of the cabins to be a pantry. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes. So this was when we are planning with Bearing together this boat, that we said, okay, we want to do long travelings. We want to do to live on the boat. So there will be times we will stay on the boat without contact to any harbor or to buy any things for weeks. So that's why the first thing we need on the boat is storage. Not only for food and for clothes and for everything what you have to have. So I think what is for a boat, when you have to do this, or when you want to do long travels, you need storage on the boat. This is first thing. You need a boat with technique you can trust. This is really important. And yes, and with the storage space, we decided to change this 4-cabin version of this boat. It is a 4-cabin version, to change one of these cabins to a pantry, as you told before. And there we have big freezer, big refrigerator. We have massive, huge storages for all food what we need.
What about the fuel? How was the fuel consumption?
The fuel, yes. Sorry that I didn't answer. The fuel is, this boat does have 24,000 liters of fuel capacity on this boat with tanks, with 7 tanks, with a day tank and 6 tanks. And it is 24,000, so it is calculated from the shipyard for 4,000 miles. But with less than 8 knots, you can do 6,000 miles or more with this boat, because it's amazing, the fuel consumption. With 2 engines running at 9 knots, it consumes about 50 liters an hour. If you do 8 knots, then it consumes about 35 liters. And if you run with one engine, what you can do, you don't have to run all the time with 2 engines. If you run with one engine, you can do with 8 knots, it is less than 30 liters an hour. So you really, with this tank, we did with half the filling, we did till Gibraltar. With all this, what we did before with Cyprus and all this sailing at the coastline of Turkey, and then to Gibraltar, it was half of the tank. And now we refilled in Gibraltar, and now we are here, and we have more than 70% on board. So it's amazing. The consumption is really amazing.
Wow. And most of the time you lived on board, or you stayed on board with your wife. So it was just 2 of you, and you had support with crew?
Yes, we have. The boat is built to sail with 2, with only my wife and me. That's why Bering did a lot of things for me, like maybe, for example, it is the remote control. I have a special remote control so that I can help my wife with docking and maneuver the boat. It's easy to maneuver the boat in the marina or at anchor. So it is possible to sail with 2. It is built for sailing with 2. But you also can sail with crew. What we do now, we have somebody who is helping us, with docking, with mooring, with living on board. She's just really a helping hand. And we have this built with crew cabin. We have this space behind the wheelhouse. What is normally from Bering, it is captain's room. It is captain's, but because I'm owner captain, I changed this together with Bering to a second lounge, a salon. It's now deck salon, but usually this is captain's room. So you can sail this boat with captain, but I don't want to. I want to sail it by myself. Yes, and regarding your question, living on board, yes, we stayed all the time. We lived all the time on board. From Antalya till here, we only left for 1 week or 2 weeks because we have to do something at home. But we lived all the time on board, and that is, with this boat, this is built for living on it. It is not like some pleasure yachts just for sailing for a weekend or for a week or for some vacations, 2 or 3 weeks. This boat is really built to live on it for a longer time. Here I can really say Bering did really good job. It is really nice. We feel really cozy here. It's really, with all these warm colors and all this, we really love to live on this boat. Especially the noises, or that there are no noises at this boat. If you're sleeping here in marinas and there are noises from other boats, you really hear nothing, because Bering did a really good job with all this isolation and insulation of this boat. So it is really perfect to live on this boat.
Did you experience bad weather conditions? How was it?
Yes, we had. We had one time we had in the Mediterranean between Zakynthos and Kefalonia. There was really heavy weather with 2 meters of wave and 35 knots of wind. But our La Mancha really did really very well. And there was another one, much more. It was when we crossed Biscaya, the Bay of Biscaya. So every sailor who knows and who did it knows what I'm talking about. So when we started, we waited 1 week for a weather window to go, and then weather forecast says, okay, tomorrow you have 25 knots of wind and you have 1.5 meters of wave. What is for this boat is nothing. This is really not a problem. So we knew, okay, we can start with this forecast. But then when we started, after 3 hours, we've got 40 knots of wind, continually, permanently 40 knots with 45 knots of gusts. So, 45 knots in Beaufort, it's 9. And storm is 9 before. So we really can say now it was storm. We had got storm. And it was a really hard wave, 2 meters, 2.5 meters of waves. I did some videos. I took some videos. Maybe can show them at this place. One video shows from the pilot house, from the wheelhouse. And if you know how high this wheelhouse is, and you see this wave coming over the whole boat, you know how high the waves were, and the wind. It was really strong. But the boat did what it was built for. It was really stable, it was really comfortable, and we had this storm 12 hours. We went through this storm, and it was really rough, and I think it was really good testing for Le Manja.
Interesting. So where's the name Le Manja coming from? Why Le Manja?
Maybe the name helped us with Vizcaya. Le Manja is the Brazilian goddess for all life and for the sea. So the Brazilians believe in that all life is coming out of sea, like European also do. All is coming out of the sea, and all life is coming out of the sea, and that's why they have this goddess. It's Le Manja, the goddess for all life and for the sea, and that's why we choose this name.
So based on your experience, if you could give our audience one advice, what are the things what you wouldn't like to miss on an explorer boat?
I think these are all these things I told before. This is first of all, you're living on this boat for long times. You're sailing long distances, so you need all this comfort. You need this stability, capability, this safetiness. Yes, this is all that what you want to have, what you need, what you really need on an explorer yacht, and this is what it is built for. So I think everybody who wants to do long distance, long sailing, living on the boat needs a boat like this.
So you spent on board Le Manja on this Pocket Explorer yacht basically the previous or the past couple of months. How was it for you in terms of being the captain as well as docking the boat sometimes, also from maintenance point of view, from the engine room? How was it for you being involved, and how did you enjoy the cruise?
Okay. Yes, it was perfect to do it with two persons, with my wife. So mooring with this, as I told you, it is really easy with this remote control. So mooring and traveling is easy, but boat is work too. If you're owner captain, yes, you have nobody. There's some maintenance to do, or maybe sometimes it is on board. It is usual that they break something, so you have to do this. So it is not only enjoying and traveling. You just have to do some works. You have some maintenance. You have all to do these checks, engine checks when you're underway. But for me, it is a pleasure to do this. Yes, this is important. I think this is for everybody who wants to sail by his own. This has to be a pleasure to do all this maintenance by yourself, to do these works by yourself. So then living on a boat is a pleasure if you have fun with this. And that is for me. But there is, indeed, there is a lot to do. But living on board, on the boat together or with my wife, we are married now for almost 35 years, so it is just the next level for our relationship. And it is really nice. We enjoy it very much. But indeed, we picked up somebody to help us with all this, because it's more enjoyable if you have somebody helping with all this. So we have Deck Stew helping us with docking, helping us with cooking, with cleaning the boat, with all this. This makes us, for us, sure, it's more nice to have somebody on board, and we enjoy. And yes, we enjoy this to have.
So after 4,500 miles, you now arrived in the UK. What is the next step? What is the plans for the next season, or what you would like to do with the boat further?
For next year, for sure, we want to make the coastline of Norway going up. So from Great Britain, we just want to see Scotland, Ireland, and then we want to go to Norway and do the west coast of Norway up to Lofoten. And then I want to have, this is just another dream I had, I want to have one night, the Midsummer Night. It is at the 28th of June. I want to have the Midsummer Night by boat at the Lofoten. It should be really nice, and I want to see this next year. This is the plan for next summer, to have this this Northern Atlantic. And then the idea is to go with the boat to the east coast of USA. So we want to to travel from Boston down all the coastline to do part of the Intercoastal Waterway. This is another dream. I want one time pass by Liberty and just winking from from my boat, hi Liberty. And then we want the Intercoastal Waterway down to Florida, and then want to go to the Bahamas, Caribbean, and stay a winter time in the Caribbean with the boat. So this is the next ideas. But for sure we go next year to the north, to Norway.
So this is a Pocket owners operated boat and you are the owner's captain. I saw you have the Sky Lounge arrangement with a guitar, there's rock and roll. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yes, normally this cabin is from Bering designed as a captain's cabin, and now because I'm owner's cabin, I designed it for me, and that's why this is this convertible sofa. What you can have. So if you have captain, or you can open this for a king size bed, especially if you are sailing by night. I'm sleeping there if you have night shifts, or my wife is on the steering, or our stewardess is on the steering, then I can sleep there on this. Or if there's a captain with you, his room. So I designed it, and all these colors are different to these other rooms. You see, this is I want to have this like this. Yes, and the guitar and this painting is just rock and roll. All my life was rock and roll, and not only the music I love is rock and roll, but all my life was rock and roll, and I'm playing guitar, rock and roll music. And so if you are sailing at night or by day and the autopilot is running, I just take guitar and play some riffs.
And living the dream.
Living my dream.
Like a schoolboy goes for candy, cowboys and Indians too. That's the way I go for your sweet, sweet love, and I want you to love me too. Like a ship goes for the ocean, and a plane for the skies above. That's the way I go for you, pretty little girl, and I like your kind of love. Yes, I like your kind of love. If you ever wanna hold me, pretty baby, won't you let it be now? But if you don't wanna kiss me, you're not gonna miss me. I guess I'll get along somehow. Like a teenager goes for bandstand, soft drinks and parties too. Like a pretty girl goes for Elvis. That's the way I go for you, pretty little girl, and I like your kind of love. Yes, I like your kind